provided vaccination center at their premises in the campus. That's very good for a Campurian.
Yes, now we MOT is helping us.
Yeah, drive
MOT
through.
is helping us to let us register to have like frontline vaccinated.
That's very good.
Excuse me, ladies and gentlemen, we will begin our event in 1 minute. Thank you.
Thank you. Because now MOT also assists us because now our team, I think few of them only have vaccinated, not all.
Well, I mean, it was by Tan Sri Sham, only 10%. Only
yes.
10%. Very,
yes.
very.
And then because my driver,
to, expedite.
Yeah.
Got to expedite. Because UK is already 80%. UK.
That's right. Malaysia is so small.
They got to outsource that. I mean, I think most of the this COVID now is from the factory. So let the let the owner of the factory vaccinate their staff, all that lah. Get it faster. So you get less casualty lah.
Yeah.
Excuse me, everyone. We will begin our event. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, salam sejahtera, tachihau and vanakkam. The Honourable Dato Technologist Abd Razak Abd Malik, International President of the Chartered Institute of Logistics and Transport CILT, the Honourable Dato Muhammad Muhiyuddin Abdullah, Chairman of CILT Malaysia Perak Section, the Honourable Mr. Muhammad Radzuan bin Mazlan, Under Secretary Aviation Division, Malaysia Ministry of Transport, Dr. Hazariah binti Mohammad, Principal Researcher, Gas Turbine Engine Research Hub, Unikl MIAT, Logistician Phuah Ching, Manager, Business Development and Customer Service, H&M Malaysia, Sdn Bhd, respected Dean of the Faculty of Science, moderator, lecturers, ladies and gentlemen. I am Aslinda binti Ali, and on behalf of UTAR Logistics and International Shipping Society, CILT Malaysia, we welcome you to the virtual industrial talk. Ladies and gentlemen, like many years before, the Logistics and International Shipping Society had organized industrial talk intending to create a space for logistics and supply chain industrial players to share their vast experiences in the industry with the university. Our students specifically have benefited from the information, as inside knowledge widen their horizon in their studies as well as preparing them for the working environment. The COVID-19 pandemic, however, does not stop our society from continuing the tradition. By adapting to technological advancement, the organizing committee has brought this event to you virtually, so you may attend and benefit from the session at the comfort of your home. This year, UTAR Logistics and International Shipping Society collaborates with the Chartered Institute of Logistics and Transport in Malaysia, CILTM, gathering key people and players from the aviation industry to provide us with insights regarding aviation logistics, especially during current pandemic situation. Without further ado, I would like to invite Mr. Jerome Chai Chun Nam, our organizing chairperson, for opening remarks. Please welcome.
Thank you, Aslinda. A very good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We are now in a joint talk between the Chartered Institute of Logistics and Transport in Malaysia, as well as University Tunku Abdul Rahman UTAR Kampar campus. The aim of the talk is to discuss the conditions of aviation logistics during the COVID-19 pandemic. We will hear the experience from the panelists, which consists of the people who are involved in the aviation industry, the education industry, and how they manage the aviation logistics during this pandemic. The first panelist, we have Ms. Phuah Ching, who is a business development and CSSV manager from H&M Sdn Bhd. She has been working in the logistics industry for 13 years. Second panelist is Mr. Muhammad Mazlan. He is from the Ministry of Transport Malaysia with the position of Secretary under the Aviation Division. The third and final panelist is Dr. Hazariah. She is a principal researcher at Gas Turbine Engine Research Hub from Malaysia Institute of Aviation Technology, Unikl MIAT. So these are the panels that we will have today. Thank you, and once more, welcome everyone.
Thank you very much, Mr. Jerome. Gentle reminder, all UTAR students are reminded to complete your signing in process by the link provided. The link will be closed at 2:20 p.m. Next, I would like to invite Dr. Lim Tuck Meng, Dean of Faculty of Science, to deliver his speech. Please welcome.
Yang berbahagia Dato Teknologis Abd Razak, CILT International President, Yang berbahagia Dato Muhammad Muhiyuddin CILTM Perak Chairman, Dr. Muhammad Azam, Advisor to the Logistics and International Shipping Society, Mr. Jerome Chai, the Organizing Chairman of the event today, also to the panel speakers, welcome to UTAR, welcome to this virtual talk for aviation in logistics. It is important for students to get involved in professional programs and get themselves familiar with the industry. So although we are locked down in this pandemic, the technology has enabled us to pursue on development, changes, challenges, knowledge, so that we are prepared to react to the situation after the pandemic or post-pandemic period. Although the name of the program you are studying is Logistics and International Shipping. However, the aviation part of the logistics is very important, especially as what we can see today, the vaccines are all sent through air cargo instead of through the sea or even impossible land route. So to understand the risk taken, the reaction of the industry to this pandemic, and what are the challenges that we need to face will open up our mind to look at issues and then how to overcome issues in future. This may just be a topic that we focus on. However, the reactions and then efforts taken could be applied in other issues as well. So make good use of this event to enrich your knowledge for your program, and I hope that you will gain a lot from this activity as well as other future activities that will be organized by this society. For this, I thank all the speakers as well as the participants who spend their precious Saturday afternoon to discuss about these important topics, and I'm sure you will gain a lot of knowledge for joining this event. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Doctor. I would like to confirm beforehand, is Dato Razak present?
Kejap, Datuk. Kami cuba call lagi sekali. Kami cuba invite lagi sekali. Saya kami invite sekali melalui email. Okay, technical team, can you invite Dato Razak? Please inform if Dato Razak is available. Technical team.
Yeah. Oh, but there's technical issue, so he is in other meeting.
Okay. Can you please invite him into the meeting? Room meeting lain
Okay, I believe Dato Razak have finally managed to join us.
Sorry, I went to the wrong meeting room. Right.
Thank you, Dr. Razak, for being here. Okay, we will continue our event for today.
Okay.
Okay, again, thank you very much, Dr. Lim, for your speech. Now, please welcome the Honorable Dato Technologist Abd Razak Abd Malik, International President of CILT, to give his opening speech. Please welcome, Dato.
Thank you very much. A very good morning and afternoon, or even evening if there's anybody outside in Malaysia listening now. And to those who have joined this event, I hope you are healthy and safe during this COVID-19 pandemic. Firstly, many thanks to the students.
Please switch on camera, Dato. Turn on camera.
Oh, sorry. No, already turned on. There? You see me? No.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, you can hear me, Sorry.
Yes, Dato.
Okay.
Yes, Dato.
We are using technology very much, sometimes there's glitches around. So firstly, many thanks to the students and faculty members of University Tengku Abdul Rahman, Kampa campus for inviting me to UTAR Logistics Virtual Talk 2021. It is a pleasure for me as International President of the Chartered Institute of Logistics and Transport to be part of this event in 2021. As International President, I really appreciate such initiative from the students who are studying Bachelor of Science, Honours, Logistics and International Shipping to explore the logistics world. I do hope this event will benefit the students as well as affiliate members of CILT who are studying logistics. I do hope that these students will be prepared to face the working environment after completion of study at the university. Ladies and gentlemen, firstly, let me introduce who we are in 2021. Our institute was founded in 1919 with a mission to improve industry practices and nurture talent. We are 102 years now. Today, we support over 33,000 members in 37 countries. Last year, 14 May, we welcomed our 36th branch, CILT Korea, and in January this year, our 37th branch, the latest, Rwanda in Africa. Through our educational suite, our strong community and our commitment to high standards, we help professionals to develop their careers and access better jobs. We are the leading professional body who works for supply chain, logistics, and transport. We are a global family, representing professionals at all levels across all sectors, with a mission to give individuals and organizations access to the tools, the knowledge, and the connection vital to success in the logistics and transport industry. CILT, after successfully serving the industry for the last 100 years, we need to be relevant for the next century. Early last year, I had lined up my 5 focus areas during my term as the international president. They are as below. Number 1, inclusivity and care for every member. CILT member countries to participate actively in supporting the mission and vision of CILT International by creating open platform and communication by means of video conferencing like what we are doing today, internet TV and YouTube. It is about sharing and carrying best practices and about who you are, what you are, what are your activities around the world. Secondly, green technology and sustainability. Sustainability and green agenda, a responsibility and privileged role to play, creating a friendly environment for the future of our planet. Thirdly, uncharted territories. In the spirit of Stronger Together, we are exploring the uncharted territories, expanding CILT into the Francophone countries, Arabs, Russian, Europe, Japanese, and Latin Americas. WILAT, Women in Logistics and Transport, a wing of CILT, had been actively pursuing this end, and as a result, from 13 November last year to date, induction of WILAT took place in Bangladesh, Madagascar, Egypt, Turkey, Indonesia, Oman, Fiji, and Central Asia. When you talk about Central Asia, it includes Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, Kyrgyzstan, Turkmenistan, and Tajikistan, and also including Afghanistan. On 29/4, WILAT Korea was launched, and 3rd of July, WILAT Rwanda. Fourthly is best practices in managing crisis. These are also the 4th focus areas that I'm looking at. In view of the present challenges, CILT believes strict adhering to best practices in managing the crisis and disaster and adapting at the quickest time the new normal and the new reality as a way forward. Special thanks to those all over the world, especially in CILT, who have replied to our COVID-19 impact survey. Why do we want to do this? Because it is only not because of COVID-19. It will be sometimes in the future. Could be volcanoes, could be tsunami, could be countries, warfare and all that, or even famine. So with all these survey impacts due to the pandemic can be documented as a CILT international document, so that when things come, that we have to face again the challenges like what we are doing now, like what we are facing now, that we are ready with certain things. And last but not least is digitalization and Industry 4.0. My focus will touch on the key mission of the Institute to provide accessible and high quality embracing digitalization and IR 4.0 in education globally. Now to me, and I know that you all will agree with me that these are the essence of the new institute in a new era. We are now 102 years, we have another 98 years to go for the future century. So I'm trying to put a basis, strong basis for what we are going to go and what we are going to face in the future. Ladies and gentlemen, the logistics industry is very dynamic. In this industry, the need for a knowledgeable workforce is crucial, especially those who have knowledge in logistics management. Previously, those who joined the industry do not receive any formal education about logistics management. After completing high school, many of those who join this industry see it as a non-favorable, last choice, and an approach just to earn a living. These elders in logistics grew through rank and file with their logistics or transport company. They learn by trial and error, making mistakes and improving their working procedures. Today, they are the industry leaders in the logistics and transportation industry. Nowadays, there are many higher learning institutions, colleges, and universities offering logistics courses. A formal and systematic learning approach for logistics has been established for the high school leavers to learn about logistics. There are many avenues for learning, ranging from short courses, diploma, bachelor degrees, and postgraduate higher degrees available for those who want to improve their knowledge in logistic transportation and supply chain. Today, we can see that the logistic industry begins to achieve a knowledgeable workforce, and I do expect logistic graduates from University Tunku Abdul Rahman shall contribute their expertise to the industry. I do hope that you, the logistics student at UTAR, give high commitment to your study and learn as much from your academic lecturers about the logistics industry. The lecturers are chartered members of CILT, and they have gained a number of years working experience before joining academic institutions. The Chartered Institute of Logistics and Transport is always there to lend our expertise and knowledge among our members to higher learning institutions. Collaboration between universities and logistic industry players is important for improvement of the industry. As international president, I encourage the collaboration activities between CILT, university, and logistic organizations, not only in Malaysia, but also all over the world wherever CILT has. Such collaboration creates information exchanges, knowledge sharing, and importantly, networking among us in the logistics industry. We at CILT believe that when we are together, many obstacles are able to overcome. There is no such thing as silo or work alone in logistics. In executing logistics tasks, there is always teamwork and togetherness to complete goals. That is why CILT now has its credo, stronger together. Dear participants, I has been informed to me that this year UTAR Logistics Talk will discuss the topic of aviation logistics. I believe that this issue should be forwarded and exposed to the students at higher learning institutions as an approach to enhance their knowledge about the aviation industry. Airplanes as made of transport could be tracked back since World War II. In the Far East, theater where Japanese army blocked the maritime route from India to China, the Allied forces began to move their supplies with airplanes crossing Himalayan mountains in the support of the Chinese army war effort. After the end of the World War II, when the Soviet army blocked supply from Western forces to occupy Berlin, American and British began to move such supply to Berlin by aircraft. This is known in history as Berlin Airlift, and it proved that goods can be moved by air transport. History has shown that air transport plays an important role during war and peacetime. Aviation logistics can be seen as an activity of planning, organizing, controlling, and enforcing aviation operations for air freight supply chains. Aviation industry has complex supply chains that support air cargo movement. There are many parties involved in aviation logistics, consisting of aircraft owners, aircraft operators, air traffic controllers, terminal operators, warehouses, ground support, aircraft engineers, pilots, air freight forwarders, cargo owners, and also the aviation logistics professionals. It is the favorable choice of cargo owners to utilize air transport, as aviation is considered the fastest approach to move their cargoes. Unfortunately, the COVID-19 pandemic in the year 2020 has severely affected the aviation industry. Many airlines companies such as Singapore Airlines, AirAsia, and others have grounded their aircraft. Long-distance air travel is suspended as many countries close their doors in order to curb COVID-19 pandemic. Those directly involved with aviation are being laid off as airline companies struggle to remain their business. We see many pilots and cabin crews being terminated because of the pandemic. It is sad to see such a situation happen as COVID-19 pandemic affected the aviation workforce. However, I'm positively will bounce back after the COVID-19 storm subsides. The workforce for this industry will grow, and we need more qualified aviation logistics expertise to the industry. Now, as COVID-19 vaccine is available, we can see it is a race of time to deliver the vaccine from the manufacturer to their clients in every country globally. COVID-19 vaccine is a sensitive cargo that needs to be transported in a lower controlled temperature as quickly as possible. Airplanes are the most reliable mode of transport to move the vaccine due to such condition. Many batches of vaccine has been flown from Europe and China to countries all around the world. This showed that the aviation logistic activities are crucial in the time we need most. Dear participants, restriction movement of people affected the passenger airline services. However, I see a different perspective from air freight movement. As we are all self-quarantined and purchase material by e-commerce, we did not realize that some of these items were purchased originated from foreign countries. E-commerce has changed the traditional brick and mortar shop to an online just-in-time producer to customers approach. The e-commerce has affected air cargo movement. It is reported that 10 to 20% of air freight increases during the pandemic period. This shows that aviation logistics are still important for international business and global cargo movement. A study found that the quality of service provided by the aviation industry focused on 5 factors. These 5 factors are: number 1, ground handler attitude; number 2, information sharing and communication; number 3, pricing; number 4, product reliability; and number 5, fast delivery, especially on the last mile delivery section. Results from this research suggest that human capability with relevant logistics knowledge and positive mental attitude are able to improve ground handling activities, efficient information sharing, enhance clients' confidence in services, and improve delivery. This leads to the improved delivery and directly indicates such quality of service. Cargo owners will pay higher for good quality of aviation service. Thus, I encourage the aviation industry players and higher learning institutions to partner with us. The Chartered Institute of Logistics and Transport in improving our aviation logistics services. The Chartered Institute of Logistics and Transport is here to support the human capital needed for the aviation industry. The opening of air travel involving multiple cities in different stages of the virus outbreak would require a profound understanding on the nature of passenger and cargo movement. Professional leaderships are essential in harmonizing different practices so that passengers would not find themselves unable to complete a trip because of multi-restriction, quarantine requirements, health declaration, and a new travel protocol. So far, CILT's global background has been a tremendous help, sharing good practices and guidelines during such challenging times. Having said all the above, let me tell you what Professor Omera Khan, Chartered Fellow of the Institute of Logistic Transport of Royal Holloway, University of London said, and I quote, "The key characteristic of world-class supply chain are agility, adaptability, and alignment. Effectively managing all three will enable companies to embrace the uncertainty of the new normal operating environment and opportunities that are characteristic of the fourth industrial revolution. Don't get trapped in traditional linear thinking and absorbed by current crisis. Do things strategically about the force of disruption and innovation shaping your future." Lastly, before I end my speech, I want to congratulate the Faculty of Science, University Tengku Abdul Rahman, the UTAR Logistics International Shipping Society, and members of CILTM Malaysia that contributed to make this event happen. I wish that the university will continue to partner with CILT in contributing to the logistics industry. As for the logistics student, I encourage you to join CILT as a member after completion of your study in UTAR. Keep on improving your logistic knowledge with the information provided by CILT International, CILT Malaysia, and other country chapters. Let us grow together with CILT. With this, I would like to officiate the opening of the UTAR Logistics Virtual Talk 2021. Hope that we shall benefit from this event. Stay safe, stay healthy, stronger together. Thank you very much. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Dato Razak, for introducing us with CILT as well as officiating our event today. Next, we would like to welcome our speakers to join our honorary guests for a photo-taking session to commemorate to this event. Dear Dato Abd Razak, Dato Muhiyuddin, Dr. Lim, respected speakers and moderator, kindly turn on your camera for this session. And let's have our technical department to facilitate this process. Thank you.
Please send it to me, eh?
Yes, yes, we will, Dato.
Yeah, good.
Okay. 3, 2, 1, smile. Again, 3, 2, 1, done.
Thank you. Okay.
Well, thank you everyone. Now we have come to the main part. Please welcome Dr. Muhammad Azam bin Din to moderate our session for today. Please welcome Dr.
Thank you to Miss Aslinda, the chairman, the chairperson, the master of event for today, and thank you to the UTAR Logistics Society. So today we're going to listen from 3 panelists who are expert in their field that have connection with aviation logistics. So the first panelist is Miss Phuah Ching. Miss Phuah currently with H&M Malaysia Sdn Bhd. The second panelist is Mr. Mohammad Mazlan. He's from Ministry of Transport Malaysia. And then the third one is Dr. Hazariah. She's from the University Kuala Lumpur MIAT. So the The presentation from each panel will be around 25 to 30 minutes. We will hear all the presentation first from the panels. After that, we're going to have a question and answers, open up the question and answers from the participant. You can ask your questions to the speakers. Okay, so without further ado, I think I would like to invite Ms. Phuah Ching. Ms. Phuah, the floor is yours. Please proceed.
Thank you, Doctor. Thank you, UTAR, to invite me for this talk. And this is my first time having a talk in public to the students, to everyone. I just good in logistics, in freight forwarding, in this field for 30 years, about 30 years. And when we started on this field, there's no courses or any books to study. We have to work and bump on the wall to learn all the our knowledge and our experience. When I first joined is after school, after STPM, I joined into a local company, and which that is my industrial training center. He teach me operations and then customer service, and from there I learned out until today. So I'll represent H&M today, and also LOGM in Penang. I was a chartered member. I graduated in year 2019, and I joined chartered on that time. So I will with LOGM. And today I will share about our about air freight. As you say, everyone mentioned that air freight is very important. Actually, I'll just give you some background of H&M. H&M is a local company in Malaysia and only in Penang. Our bosses started this company is to handle chilled tuna fish in year 1995. That time is very famous, and we have a lot of export of tuna fish from Penang to Japan, especially Tokyo, Osaka, and Kansai, yeah, Osaka, Fukuoka. But normally they will go to Tokyo, Narita. So on that time, I joined them in year 2000, and this is also a learning stage for me, how to handle chilled tuna fish. So before that, I'm very good in handling general cargo because I'm deal with LMW company. I'm handling of cargo from free trade zone. I'm not good in others. And when I joined them, this is the first time I'm coming to learn how to handle tuna fish, because there is a special booking with airlines. We need to work with airlines very, very closely due to the space, because we cannot afford to have any delay. If one delay or off-roaded, the cargo can be the grade will be changed, and there will be damages, and there will be a huge claim. So okay, from started when I joined H&M, it's only 9 staff, and all are guy, and H&M is famous as name Hantu Malam. Due to all the people are working in H&M, only work when they started work is only 6 p.m. onwards until the next day morning, because all the tuna fish they were packed, because the vessel will come in, that means the boat from Taiwan, they were coming from Indian Ocean. When they reach Penang port, it's already afternoon, so they need to clean up the fish. They need to packing everything is only started at about 5 to 6 p.m. After finish packing everything, we only started working at 9 to 10. The cargo will only move from Penang port to airport. And that is the time that H&M the staff is start working. So Hantu Malam is very famous for H&M in that time, in 1995 to year 2000 something. So now, after that, because the tuna fish was diverted from Penang, from Malaysia to Phuket, Sri Lanka. So now, that time in year 2000, we have a few partners from overseas to work together. The time is very famous of garments. Penang have a lot of garments manufacturing. So we handle a lot of garments and also some fruits coming in, overseas import fruits, and also some electronics goods. And that time, in year 2000, we can say that we have triangle shipments, which means the buyer is from Taiwan, they bought the things from Penang, but the cargo they need to send to China or send to other plants. That is called triangle shipments. So that is the time that we diverted to other parts of the things. So last year, when we started have COVID pandemic, and it will make everyone panic, especially in logistics, because first thing is all the capacity was need to reduce due to like aircraft, because normally we have passengers, aircraft, and also freighter. So, but now there is no passenger flights. All the passenger flights have to be cancelled and only have freighter. And freighter capacity is not big enough like compared to passenger flight, because passenger flight, they have a daily flight, like flying Penang to everywhere. But freighter is maybe 1 week once, some of them 1 week once, 1 week three times, you know. So that is the capacity was going down. So a lot of cargo was hanging, no space to move out. So our customer need to have space to keep their things, to store their goods. So last year, one of our big customer who generates a tester equipment, so we have to look urgently warehouse space for them to keep their things. So last year, end of last year, we managed to get a 37,000 square feet warehouse to in order to help them, assist them to capture all their goods. And now the goods are still in our warehouse, in and out. So beside that, we have a problem is the space of the cargo. Not only in air freight, sea freight, a lot of problem. As you see, the whole Malaysia, we have Penang, KL, and Johor. So Penang normally is the northern part who handle all the northern places like Alostar, Kedah, Penang, and part of Perak. And central will be KL, Perak, Malacca, and then the southern it will be Johor. So normally Penang and KL are the main airport for cargo. And Penang, we only restriction, there is a few carrier, like we have SQ Singapore Airlines, Thai Airways, but now Thai Airways also moved to KL. So now we have Singapore Airlines, we have Malaysian Airlines, we have Cathay Pacific, we have EVA Air, we have Current Air, we have China Airlines, and then now we have Starlux from Taiwan. So our airlines, our carrier are quite limited in Penang compared to KL and Singapore. So in this time, our customer, certain time they need very urgently to send out the cargo, and sometimes we need to help them to look for an option, which means we need to track down the cargo from Penang to Singapore in order to move out from Singapore. As Singapore, they have more carriers compared to Penang and KL. So all the cargo will move either from Penang to Singapore via truck, cross-border truck, and some of the cargo we need to hand over to courier service, as courier service have mainly they have their own aircraft flying to Penang without any reducing of the capacity, so their rates are more competitive compared to commercial airlines on this time. So a lot of cargoes was we need to hand over all the cargoes to courier service like FedEx, DHL, UPS. So as a freight forwarder, we lost a lot of numbers of cargoes or business due to this time because of rates and space. But we have no choice. We need to support our customer. So we have to help them, assist them to hand over the cargo to the courier service. And also we have to work very closely with airlines carrier to get the space and rates. For last year, I can tell you the rates was increased not only 10% or 20%, but it's more than 100%. Actually, cargo to Europe and US, or not even Europe and US, Asia, like Penang, Taipei. Before that, we can use two ringgit, 3 ringgit, or $1 USD a kilo, but it can become 12 US per kilo from Penang to Taipei. Due to the space, the capacity was lower compared to the demands. So this is the time we are heading, because certain business that we are signing for 2 years or 1 year's contract, but we have no choice. We have to talk to the customer to work this out. And we are facing a space problem, but a lot of carriers in Penang are working very closely with us due to where we are the top 10 agent for the carrier, which we are supporting them before all the years from 2000 when I joined the company. We are the top 10 agents for most of the carrier. So power to bargain for the space and rates are higher, but rates wise, the airline also tell us that Ching, we need to survive as well, as that means their flight need to reduce and they need to increase in the rates to maintain their aircraft, because the aircraft maintenance is very high. Also, we are facing is time. As you know, airlines are very fast. We need to submit the cargo before 4 to 6 hours before the flight depart. So timing is very important as well. But because of pandemics, because of a lot of SOP need to follow and a lot of staff percentage of staff working, so there is a lot of times delaying, like custom clearance, pick it up time, movement time from on the road was delayed. So we are rushing. And we need sometimes, we need to hire some other trucks to cover in order to make our cargo to reach in the airport and we can submit in time in order to incur any additional charges. Beside that, how to say, oh, I forgot what I want to talk already. I'm so sorry. On this stage, last year and this year, we can see there is a difference. Last year, the rate is very, very high. This year, comparing to last year, the rate is reduced because airlines are coming more and more on the freighter. Although passenger flight is not existing for passenger. For now, we are still using freighter, but airlines are increasing their flights on the timing. So the rates are reducing, but certain time, like now, this week, last week and this week is a quarter end, the rates are a bit high compared to others, especially the space as well. The rates increasing is due to the space demand. So quarter end, normally most of the manufacturing need to push out their sales. So that's why the space are tight and the rates are higher. This is now the time that we are facing. And we are trying to do whatever things that we can to support our customer. As the customer that we work are quite long time, we work together for a long time, and we did inform them beforehand, like what is the issue that we're having now in Malaysia, or what is the problem, and what we can do is like how we will divert if we cannot use aircraft, air freight. What can we do? In like sea freight, because the container shortage of containers, the space, the rates. So we will go for other options like trucking to Singapore or trucking to KL in order to move out the cargo as soon as possible. Or we can do is we will book with airlines 1 week or 2 weeks ahead when we have the data. Like our customer, we have a existing customer that we already know every week they have shipments going out, so we will work with airlines to get the space, book first in order to have space problem. So normally we will work very closely with airlines to get the space and rates. And also for the custom side, we will pre-clear the shipment before ahead. Unless the shippers or the consignee cannot give us the document on hand, then there will be a little bit delay. But whatever thing we can do is we can do pre-clearance first, we will do it first. So whatever cargo that can pick up, we will immediately pick up and send to our warehouse while waiting for the confirmation to ship up the cargo. So in order to not further delay on the cargo, on the space or on the delivery time. Especially the goods that now we are handling is equipment, technology, they cannot delay, because once the technology is delayed, means all the technology is gone, then they cannot, it's not competitive. So all the equipments that we handle now are very, very urgent. And every time we move we will move it out immediately. I'll just show you some of the information that how H&M handle, and also the now we are doing 4PL. As we say, we are 4PL now because we need to pick up from various shippers, and put into our warehouse. And after that, we will move either by air, by sea, or by truck going to the end user. This is just some information for you, the airlines that we have in Penang. And now we are their top 10 agents. So in order to bargain for space and rates are more powerful compared to others. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Phuah, for the sharing of knowledge from your side. From what I can see is that this pandemic really has affected the freight forwarder side as well, right? The space become one of the crucial thing that you need, but suddenly the space become an issue because there are no so-called passenger flights due to the restriction. So it affect your side as well for the air cargo deliveries. So
actually, this is not only affect us, but also affect the shipper and end user, because the rates they are paying now is very much higher. And we have no choice because we also have to pay on behalf of the shipper. Yes. So that's why all the goods are increasing the rates. But airline also need to survive. That's why sometimes we have no choice. We have to, work with them. If you want to move the cargo, you need to pay. So what we can do? So we have to go through this pandemic on the rates and the space.
Okay. So thank you, Ms. Phuah, for your information sharing as well as experience sharings for this event. Now I would like to invite Mr. Encik Muhammad Radzuan Mazlan. Encik Muhammad Radzuan is from the Ministry of Transport, and he's in charge for the aviation division. So, if possible, I would like to invite Encik Mazlan, Encik Radzuan, to share your knowledge with us for this event. Encik Mazlan, the floor, Encik Radzuan, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Very good afternoon to all. First of all, I'm pleased to join the virtual industrial talk, Aviation Logistics, organized by UTAR. And I hope that our sharing session today would be very beneficial to the students as well as other participants. I'm going to present today the overview of the function of the ministry and other aviation agencies. And I go through the aviation policy, some of the airports policy, and finally, I would also go through what are the impacts of COVID-19 to the aviation industry and how does the airlines or the airport operators react to this, to the impact of COVID-19. For a start, perhaps that I would like to explain on the functions of the Ministry of Transport, the Civil Aviation Authority of Malaysia, and the Malaysia Aviation Commission. Essentially, the Ministry of Transport is the policy maker for aviation industry, which cover matters pertaining to the flight operations, airport operations, airport development, safety, security, rural air services, and also some international negotiation, be it bilaterally or multilaterally. We have also been a focal person to the International Civil Aviation Organization in Montreal, where we are the council members of ICAO. And there are two regulators under the aviation industry. One is the economic regulator, which is spearheaded by Malaysian Aviation Commission or MAVCOM, which was established 1st March 2016. Being the economic regulator, MAVCOM regulates economics matters relating to the civil aviation industry, which cover again three aspects. One is the airlines operations, aerodrome or airport operations, ground handling services, and also matters pertaining to the protection of consumers. MAVCOM also administer and manage air traffic rights, while the Ministry of Transport negotiate or procure traffic rights to ensure that the airlines can have sufficient landing rights for them to operate into any of the international destinations. And MAVCOM also is an independent advisor to the Ministry of Transport on all economic matters pertaining to civil aviation. On the other hand, Civil Aviation Authority of Malaysia, or CAM, which was established way back in 17 February 2018, is the technical regulator overseeing safety, maintenance, and security. Essentially, CAM, or those days what we call a Department of Civil Aviation, DCA, is exercising its safety regulatory oversights of civil aviation and regulate the operation of aerodrome services and facilities in the airports in Malaysia. They are also providing the air navigation services. This is all about the air traffic controllers, air traffic management within the Kuala Lumpur and Kota Kinabalu airspace. They are also having this Center of Excellence for the Air Traffic Controllers called MAVA, Malaysia Aviation Academy, which facilitate, promote, assist in the development and improvement of civil aviation capabilities skills and services in Malaysia. There is no redundancy between the three agencies. Each one of us know our role. Nevertheless, in 11 December 2019, that the government has decided to rationalize the regulatory bodies in which MEFCOM will be disbanded, but all the functions of MEFCOM will be transferred into one entity, that is Civil Aviation Authority of Malaysia. The main reason for this is to ensure a more seamless and also to ensure the efficiency of services provided by a single authority. Civil Aviation Authority also is being implemented in other countries like Singapore, Thailand, UK, and also some other countries. And we are looking at matters to reduce bureaucracy, improve effectiveness and efficiency of governance. And we had established a task force who is overseeing the implementation of this because to form or to establish a new CAM would require a thorough discussion and deliberation before we can fully operationalize the new CAM. Now, let me go through some of the aviation policies. Of course, we have got many policies, but perhaps that I would like to share with you Open Skies policy as well as ASEAN Open Skies policies. Open Skies policy essentially would allow any airlines to operate between the two countries without any limitation of frequencies, routes, type of aircraft, and also aircraft capacity. The airlines are free to determine when they want to fly, how many frequencies, and also they can also determine what price or what fare or what rates that they are going to impose to their consumers. The Open Skies provide convenience and attractiveness to the airlines so that they can explore even to some of the secondary cities. In the aviation industry, they are international airports, they are domestic airports, they are also small stall ports. And the definition or the implementation on Open Skies policy differs from one country to another, or even the definition of Open Skies is also being implemented differently between a country to another or between a block to another. I'm not sure whether our colleague here are fully aware on the 9th freedom of the air, but the notion of Open Skies policy in the case of Malaysia, that we are very selective to have these Open Skies policies with any countries. The basis must be on reciprocal basis. At the same time, that we could be able to gain advantage in terms of to increase air connectivity between the two countries. Hence, Malaysia, essentially, our Open Skies policy would only restrict it up to the 5th freedom traffic rights, or in a very simple word, that we would allow any airlines to operate without any limitation, destination, or frequencies only between Malaysia and to the other countries, and also with regard to the third countries, that is the 5th freedom traffic rights. We would not allow the freedom which would also include cabotage or would also include domestic routes, because this is very important for us to ensure that our domestic carrier can operate, should be given the rights to operate between points, domestic points within Malaysia, and that it has been implemented by any other countries, and let me go through. Okay, I just want to also to add that how do we implement these open skies policies? And essentially, there are two types of air services agreements which provide the implementation of open skies policy. It could be in the form of bilateral agreements, and also it could fall under multilateral agreements. In the case of Malaysia, as of today, we have a bilateral air services agreement with 108 countries. And currently, our airlines are operating into 28 countries. Out of 108 countries, 21 of the air services agreements can be classified as an open skies arrangement. Now, let us move on to the ASEAN open skies policies. ASEAN consists of 10 member countries. Way back in 2013 or 29, we have signed this agreement. The three agreements which allow the designated carriers of ASEAN to fly to any destination within ASEAN without any restrictions. It has been fully implemented in 2013 when all ASEAN member states have already ratified the three agreements. And today, I must say that 2019, prior to the COVID-19 pandemic, the highest connectivity of Malaysia is essentially from the ASEAN countries. And one of the factors which contribute to the higher growth of ASEAN tourists is essentially due to this ASEAN open skies arrangement that have been agreed upon by all ASEAN member states. And in the ASEAN, after we have liberalizing or we have implementing the ASEAN open skies, we are now talking about embarking into the ASEAN open skies with dialogue partners. We have signed the ASEAN-China Air Transport Agreements way back in 2013, where the designated carriers of ASEAN can operate to any points in China without any restrictions. In China, there are 3 metro cities which is highly demanded by the carriers that are going to Beijing, Shanghai, and Guangzhou. And apart from that, there are many secondary cities of which the volume of passengers is even higher than main cities within ASEAN. And just recently, we have concluded the negotiation between ASEAN and EU for an open skies policy. As I mentioned earlier, open skies policy, the implementation could be different from one block to another block. Within within ASEAN, the open skies policies does not include cabotage policies or will not include points within a country. What that has been allowed is merely an operating to and from ASEAN member state countries. And the airlines must be owned substantially by the respective countries in order for them to enjoy the traffic rights. Whereas within the EU open skies policy have gone through phases where they have allowed open policy up to cabotage policy. Within the EU, any airlines can operate even within between points within the countries, within EU. And as long as the carrier is substantially owned by EU nationals, they would be able to do that. Within ASEAN, we are perhaps a bit, we at this juncture, the open skies that we are currently exercise is merely up to the fifth freedom traffic and will not touch on cabotage. And the negotiation is going on, and perhaps that one day ASEAN also would mirror what EU is doing today. And within ASEAN single aviation market, the very moment that we have opened our market access, the technical element, especially safety, security, and traffic management, would need to be enhanced further. This would support the growth of the aviation industry and to ensure that the operations are safe and sustainable. Now let's just look at a few of these airport policies. Number one, it has been a policy that Malaysia would want to position KLIA as the cargo and passenger regional hub. What does that mean? That means we would like to increase connectivity as a means to attract major airlines to call to KLIA and also make KLIA as a hub. How do we do that? We aggressively come out with a promotion for KLIA to be part and parcel of an important destination for major airlines. We have raised the operational facilities in KLIA, not only to allow for passenger movement and also to cater for the demand for cargo movement. In fact, today we are embarking into one more initiative, what we call KLIA Aeropolis, which could further enhance logistic sector within the aviation community. In fact, we have Alibaba branch, what we call the FTZ, Digital Free Trade Zone in KLIA now, which is ready to be operationalized very soon. Some of the facility has been established and being implemented, but of course, within the KLIA Aeropolis, we are talking about how do we expand it further. This would cater more on the e-commerce segment, which is currently a new venture for the new economic activities. The next one is the governments way back in 2005 have classified or have embarked into initiative to develop Subang as an international aerospace and business aviation hub. The aerospace and international business aviation hub would cover 6 core clusters. That is maintenance, repair, and overhaul (MRO), General Aviation Center, Helicopter Center, Aerospace Technology Park, Aerospace Training Center, Commercial Center. And today, Subang Airport is known as the second most preferred hub for business aviation in Asia Pacific and the 4th in the world. Subang hosts 60 leading brand names that employ more than 4,000 high-skilled and specialized technical jobs with an average salary of 4,000 to 25,000 per month. And this is the 4 times growth from 2005 to 2020. And even today with us, one of the speakers is from MIAT, which their location of the university is near Subang Airport. The third one is the government have also a policy to build Senai Airport as the southern hub for cargo. It was the initiative was initiated way back in 2003. The government have signed a concession agreement with Senai Airport and have a lease agreement with Senai to develop Senai as southern hub for cargo. The objective of Senai is essentially to attract more air cargo operators to set up operation and also to reduce the leakages of local cargo to Changi. And of course, apart from cargo, Senai also handles passenger. If you look at the numbers of the passenger, it has growth steadily up to 2019, where we have recorded 4.3 million passengers. And this is also cargo movement in Senai, where the cargo movement also have the growth picking up steadily up to 2019. 2019. And this is due to the strategic location of Senai, which is nearest to the port of Tanjung Pelepas, as well as from Johor Port, and it has also linked with the second link expressway and Senai Desro Expressway. Now let's move on to this. We are now embarking into a new initiative, new project, what we call National Airport Strategic Plan. This plan is currently being undertaken and will be completed in the year 2023. This project is essentially a study which aim to advise the government what is the future direction of the airport development in Malaysia. In particular, this study will be used as a reference for the government to understand what are the roles of airports, what are the airport network, what are the function and role of each airport. Today, I have just started today mentioning about KLIA as the regional hub, and Senai Airport as the southern cargo hub. What would happen to the other airports, for example? Does that mean that we will ignore Penang airports, Kota Kinabalu Airport, and so forth? But essentially, these airports in Malaysia, 42 of them, are interlinked with each other. Hence, it is very important for us to understand and also to strengthen the function and role of each airport so that we could have a robust development which cater future demands of both passenger and goods or logistics in Malaysia. And today, the ministry have received many applications to expand airports, to develop new airports, and also to develop more MRO centers within airports. And we hope that by undertaking this study, the study would be able to advise us on those applications and whether or not we should build any new airports or should we expand certain airports. And it is very important, it is very timely also because we have COVID-19, which essentially have impacted the growth of aviation sector. And let's move on to the current state of aviation industry. These two graphs were graphs taken from MEFCOM, where in 2019, the passenger traffic handled throughout airports in Malaysia is 109.2 million. These numbers dropped significantly in 2020, where we only recorded 26.7 million. And for 2021, MEFCOM forecasted that the passenger traffic would be only contract between 22.9% to 29.1%, equivalent to 20.6 million or 18.9 million. This is due to the effect of COVID-19, where number one, that the government have implemented MCO. We had that have curtailed the growth of domestic tourism. Not only that, our borders are still open until today. That has essentially impacted the growth of aviation industry. And this is not only applicable to Malaysia, but this is applicable to any other countries in the world. However, the recovery would very much depend on a few matters: the vaccination program, the SOPs, the compliance, and also how does the industry and the government react to the pandemic. And this chart shows the quarterly passenger traffic comparison between 2020 to 2021. I think you can see that it has been reduced significantly. Where if you look at first quarter 21, the passenger handle is only 1.7 million. If you compare to, don't go far, even if you compare to of course, first quarter 2020 is 19.1. So this is and MEFCOM also estimate a further reduction in seats capacity in the following months of 2021, because today we are still in the phase 1 of MCO, and there is no sign. Of course, the government have a plan, recovery plan, but it depends very much on few of these. Very much depend on the reduction of the COVID-19 cases, and also some other matters. And this is again to show that monthly domestic passengers in 2019, the average load is 78.1. For a full service carrier here refer to the Malaysia Airlines, refer to Garuda, this is what we call a full service carrier. And for them to reach average break-even point when they operate the aircraft, the load must be between 75% to 80%. For low-cost carrier, the load must be from 85 to 90%. And today they are they face very challenging time, where not only demand has been decreasing, but there are also restriction imposed. This is international passenger traffic during COVID-19. Today, our borders are still not open, but of course there are international travelers coming into Malaysia, but under the what we call OSC, one-stop center arrangement, where essential business travelers, which the numbers are quite low, are allowed to enter into Malaysia with some restriction or some SOP imposed on them. And of course, we are not sure. We hope that by the month of December, November, December, that the borders will be open and we will picking up again on the aviation sector. And for the cargo traffic during COVID-19, it does not have much impact. Essentially, cargo traffic during COVID-19 is the one who can who have a stable growth, which many of airlines, when there is no passenger, they have ventured into this option, what we call P2C, passenger to cargo. The aircraft, which is used to be a passenger aircraft, they have converted the aircraft into cargo because of the demand for cargo is high at this time. This is quite a popular initiative undertaken by carriers, even full service, or not only full service carriers, low cost carrier as well is doing the same. And this is the multiplier effect of COVID-19 passenger traffic impact to the overall aviation supply chain. As I mentioned earlier, when there is a decrease of demand, there will be a decline in for the airline, there will be decline in ticket sales and revenue, of course, cut down frequencies and network. And for the airports today, within a day, they are supposed to handle 20,000 or 30,000 passengers. Today is even 1,000 or even less than that. And the passenger service charge will definitely be reduced. Not only that, if you look at to the airports, before in 2019, you can see there are many duty shops in the airports which prosper. They are also fast food outlet. They are also sometimes, if you go to KLIA 2, many shop lots there. And because of the number of passengers has been is reduced, then this will affect their activities. And of course, the ground handlers, as mentioned by Dato Razak just now, ground handlers also will be impacted. Ground handlers refer to those who are working in the cargo facilities and also those who are looking after your luggages in the airports. And regulators such as Civil Aviation, CAM, and also MEFCOM also being impacted because the fees collected for the airlines to use the airspace is reduced. And MEFCOM collected what we call ringgit regulatory charge. And because of the numbers reduced, they also have their revenue drops significantly from 3.1 million to only 0.3 million. And of course, the government lose in terms of user fee because we had an agreement with MHB. When you reach into certain revenue, then some of revenue will come back to the government. And I think this, the effect will go to the employees, land transport, tourism industry. If you go to the airport way back in 2019, for you to get a Grab, a taxi is very easy. But today, if you go, it is hard for you to get taxi. And of course, tourism industry is the most impacted one by COVID-19. And my conversation with tourism industry, I really pity them because they would be the last to recover from other sectors. And I think this is just an airline initiative, SOP for operation commercial flights initiative during COVID-19. And this all involve more OPEX, more operational expenditure to the airlines. And of course, ICAO have come up with the Aviation Recovery Task Force to ensure that all the SOPs be implemented. We have a standard SOPs for all countries. You just imagine if you have different standard from other countries. We have, perhaps within ASEAN, we have 10 sets of SOP which need to be complied with the airline. Airport, of course, airport also will need to put more health screening, cleaning and sanitation. The airport, which used to cater more passengers now because of social distancing, then it has to be, they have to reduce the numbers of users. And at the government, we have announced that we have allocated 50 million under budget 2021 for training and placement of 8,000 employees of the airline companies. And the government also have instructed MHP or the airport operators to give waiver or reduction of landing and parking charges as announced under the earlier stimulus package. The way forward, as I mentioned earlier, it is very important for us to develop what we call domestic and international travel bubbles. Many times that we have discussed this, we have initiated this international travel with many countries. For example, Singapore, Australia, New Zealand, Japan, South Korea, Taiwan, and even some of the Europe countries on this. But essentially, it is very much depend on the situation of COVID-19 in our country, in their country as well. The international travel bubbles is something which is being implemented in the Europe, and much earlier we would want to start with Singapore. We managed to do that, but at the initial stage, it would only be applicable to only essential business traveler as well as government official. Domestic travel bubble also is one of the important initiative, which perhaps that when the vaccination program has been successfully being implemented, this is something which also something can be explored further. I think that's all, Mr. Moderator, my presentation. I hope that I have shared some insight on the aviation industry, aviation policy. With that, I thank you very much. The sky is not the limit, but your vision is. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Encik Radzuan. So I think we have some input from the ministry as well. From what we see here is that the Ministry of Transport also struggling to assist our aviation industry. So the COVID-19 is really impacted the aviation industry, and also I could see here that your department and the Ministry of Transport, you are trying your best to help the industry as well. Okay, thank you again to Mr. Encik Muhammad Radzuan. Now I would like to invite the third speaker, that is Dr. Hazariah from University Kuala Lumpur, MIAT. I now like hear from the perspective from the academic side from Dr. Hazariah. So Dr. Hazariah, I give the floor to you. So the floor is all yours.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Moderator. And I think before I start, I would like to thank you, UTAR, University Tunku Abdul Rahman campus in Kampar, and also to our honorary guests, Dato Muhiyuddin and Dato Razak, and also all the panelists. I think being the last speakers is kind of like something that can wrap up the whole things, which is already being taught by the Ms. Phuah and also Mr. Radzuan. Okay, I think everyone can see my slide.
Yes,
okay,
yes.
Okay, all right. Okay, I myself actually trying my level best in understanding the logistic point of view in the aviation, because I'm actually is part of the chain, the value chain inside the logistic. Okay, but again, when Mr. Moderator was asking me to get involved in this, and I said yes, by all means, because I love to share a bit of the knowledge in terms of the aviations in the titles of for today, which is the aviation industry past, present, and future. Okay, when we talk about the aviations and logistics, yeah, might be Mr. Radzuan already covered most of everything about the topic, but let me try to be an additional on top of that, yeah. When we talk about the aviation and logistics, the first thing that we need to understand that the obtaining and moving supply, okay, for all stages of the production process, which is in this case, in this slide, we can see that in making the airplane, it's just not centralized to only one place, okay? It need to move from different location. So as you can see that this is a Boeing 787 Dreamliner, you can see that is being scattered between all those parts, and all those parts is basically it came out from a different place, yeah. Such as when we talk about the wing, it came from the Japan. When we talk about the engine nacelles, it came from the California, and so many. So in order to move these particular parts from one location to another location, my dear students inside here, this is your part. This is where your whatever that you're learning inside your logistics, you are taking the degree in logistics and international shipping. Yeah, this is whereby all the elements that you learn inside the degree will playing an important roles in order to mitigate all this action. Yeah, and then I would like also to mention that when we talk about the our Dato Razak has mentioned that when we talk about the CILT, it's been there for more than 100 years. Okay, this is where the CILT is playing an important roles in order to align all those different countries in order to be in the same page towards the successful of the logistic and the global supply chain. All right, so this is the first things, yeah. And then when we talk about the logistic in the aviation, in the second thing, of course, when we talk about the these aviations, we know that we are, if we are the customer, the passenger of the aircraft, we are part of the logistic also, yeah. Using the aircraft to move people or to supplies when and to where they need to be moved. Come to the second picture, whereby we move cargo, yeah. Already been mentioned by Ms. Phuah and also Mr. Radzuan about the cargo just now. So I think when we talk about the aviation's logistic, we need to understand these two elements, okay? And then when we are talking about the logistic, we rather somehow we relate it to the aviation, logistic, and transporters, okay? So if the aviation students in my campus, they need to know this type of different aircraft, they need to know the engine type and such, but I think in different point of view, in terms of the elements that you learn in your degree, for the students in here, yeah. So you might want to understand that different type of aircraft will carry different types of load, okay, and then it will hands into a different types of management system that need to be put inside the value chain, yeah. So this is just to show you that some of the aircraft or aeroplane that being used for the transporter, as we can see that from the European side, yeah, we have the Beluga. Okay, Airbus Beluga XL, okay, it can carry a huge aircraft. Even the A400M can be fit in the Airbus 350, the body, the structure, yeah. And the next one we have the Antonov 225 Maria. It was landed in Malaysia a couple of years ago, all right, sending the LRT for our rail in Malaysia. And then we have also, same goes to the Maria, yeah, at the bottom side of the pictures, used to transport the space craft, okay. Students need to understand also that when we talk about the aviations, it will be divided into two, yeah. The first one is civils and then the other one is military. So in this case also, the significance of number one and number two being mentioned just now is the same, but only the transporter that being carried in the civils and the military will be different. So is in here we can see that the Lockheed Martin C5 Galaxy to be used as a transporter for the military purposes, yeah. Okay, when we talk about the aviation industries as a general, we know that the aviation is the key contributor to the global economic prosperity. Why? Because the aviation is the fastest way in order to travel from one destination to another destinations. It makes the logistic more faster to arrive, okay, and then it will increase the demands of the logistic through the air freighter towards the globals, yeah. Not just focusing on the tourism, but also towards that. The history of the aviation can be said that when we talk about in the early those days, in the 1783, yeah, whereby we can see that actually this is just a landscape in order to understand the whole concept of the history. But when we take a bullet point of the history of the aviation, it started when the in 1490, yeah, when the Leonardo da Vinci is sketching about the flying vehicles, yeah. And then towards the 1905, the Weaver and Wright brothers, right? I do believe that everybody knows about the story. And then in the 19th century, we have the applications of the aviations toward the problem of the propulsions fit into the aircraft to make the aircraft go faster and to make the aircraft go further from one destination to another destinations. Okay, and then come towards the propulsion problems, and then come the thinker on talking about the controls problems that can make the aircraft bigger, okay, and lighter. Okay, so meaning that when we talk about the history of the aircraft, aviations, okay, we are not just talking about a simple things what the Boeing and Airbus have nowadays. It is a lot of history behind it actually. Just a bit of examples, as I mentioned just now, from the past, okay, the Wright brothers, and then the Kelly talking about the studying of the behaviors of the solid surface, and then come the aerodynamic surface by Otto Lilienthal, all right? And then in the 20th century, the advanced aeronautical engineering come into place. But again, when we talk about the logistic areas in the aviation, so we need to understand that the value chain of the aviation industry, this is a source from the MECOM. This is the simplest way that we can show that what actually the logistic is part of the aviation industries. But I do believe that Mr. Radzuan already covered everything. Okay, just to share with you guys, in the beginning of my career in aviation, I just an aircraft mechanic. I don't even understand about the logistic, about the part of supply, AOG item and such. I only know I inspect, there is a problems with the engine part, the fuel pump, for example, and then we rectify in the logbook telling that the pump is having a problems, and then we order. What we wanted to know is the pump arrive at us at certain time, certain durations, as accordingly to the aircraft turnaround time, okay? But then we don't even know how the behind the story of the fuel pump need to deliver, for example, from, let's say from Paris, okay, to Malaysia. What we know is that in the next 2 days, I want my fuel pump. So that I can put it back in the engine and the engine can run as normal. Okay, so meaning that in here the logistics is crucial in many part of the aviation pipeline, yeah, including in the maintenance, repair and overhauls, in the line maintenance, in the ground handling, and also towards the trade, yeah, whereby the logistic transportation that use the air freighter that we mentioned earlier. Okay, this is just to show to you guys that basically when we talk about the past, okay, and the current situations, and even to the future, there's a key elements that need to be looked at in order to understand the driven of the changes. Okay, the society, the technology, the environments, the economy, the politics, playing an important roles in the transition between the past, the present, and also the future. But in here, I just wanted to show to you that when we talk about all this transition, actually we are talking about in terms of the technology. When the demand of the technology is increasing and enhancing in the technology, everything surrounding will be changed. All right. Just to share that as a logisticians, when we talk about the aviation and engage with the aviations, we need to understand that who's the bigger players around the aviation circles. Yeah? For the aircraft manufacturer, we know that Airbus, Boeing, and also Lockheed Martin is the aircraft manufacturing that's crucial in aviation industries. Yeah, aircraft manufacturing. And also we need to understand that the engine manufacturing, the top four, Rolls-Royce, we have Pratt & Whitney, Safran, and also GE Aviations that feed in their engines toward the aircraft operator. Okay, we are talking about the past, and now we are talking about what happened at the current situation nowadays. That's lead to the topic of the pandemics and the aviation logistics today. Basically, yes, this is COVID-19. The pandemic is something that came to us without any hesitance. I still remember the 18th March when the country, Malaysia, first locked down. Everything is paralyzed because we know that this is the first time for me at least, because I never seen such as like something is just like nothing on the streets, nothing, nobody is moving, everybody is just staying in the home, no movement at all. Okay, this is latest report by the ICAO, recent 22nd of June. So basically, in current situations, the authority, okay, for example, we in Malaysia, we have the Ministry of Transport, and then we have the Civil Aviation Authority Malaysia that come out with the report, with the detailing on what is the current situation and what is the mitigation in order to take care of these particular things. So this is also covered by IATA, by the ICAO, and by the respective country's authority. Just to highlight a bit of this, basically the aviation industry is already being impacted by several cases that creating the downfall of the aviation industries. We can see that from the 2003s, the SARS, okay, and then we have an avian flu in the 2005. Again, come back in the 2013s, but everything is coming back to their place. Okay, but when we talk about the impact on the COVID-19, okay, it's already surpassed the SARS in 2003. And then even after the 6 months of the recovery path, okay, the SARS, okay, this COVID-19 yet to be in the neutral graph. Expected to the travelers traveling again in the safe condition is based on the research is back to the 2024. 2024. So meaning that when we talk about this pandemic, it's creating the whole of concept of the dominoes effect. It's just not affected the particular lines, but towards the other ecosystem in the aviation industries. Okay, for an example, aircraft manufacturers and supplier, they are having a problems in the financial implications. They are having a problem in protect their employee, right? That's where Mr. Radzuan mentions that yes, there's many airlines have to survive and have to restrain some of their workers. They have to revise back their business model in order to capture the current situation. Okay, and then also the employee protection that come towards a new norm. They need to cater, they need to provide with the detailing on the new norm condition. Okay. And also towards the research development and the technology, there's a huge rapid change. And believe me that you are at the current situations nowadays, you need to catch and you need to capture all those the digitalizations as mentioned by Dato Razak just now. We need to embrace the digitalizations transformation. It not just affected to what I mentioned before, but it's actually huge impacts on the MROs, because when the border is closed, the aircraft is not moving. The aircraft is static, whether it is short-term parking, and most of the aircraft is considered to be a long-term parking. So there is no movement, there is no activities can be conducted, especially during the MRO. Okay, so the limitations of the activities of the aircraft in and outbound of Malaysia, there will be a reduction in MRO activities. Okay, the aircraft immobilizations, the aircraft check, even the cabin refurbish, it's stalled. Okay, there's no movement. And also with this pandemic, it's basically changing the whole landscape of the MROs. So the aviation company networks, all the SMEs, whether small or big SMEs also is impacted. But when we talk about the air freighter or even the cargo operator, we do understand that when Ms. Phuah was talking about the increasing price of the movement of the domestic or even the international goods, yeah. And Mr. Radzuan was mentioning about, yeah, there is a slightly increasing of this movement of the cargo, yeah. But again, we need to understand when we talk about the cargo, let's take a simple and examples of this report by the IATA and ICAO, yeah. Okay, we can see that the belly cargo capacity will remain stagnant, okay, for most of the trade lanes, okay, from the Europe to the North America. We can see that if in the previous presentations, did mentions that the drastically declining of the passenger or the commercials activities. But if you can see in here for the cargo, it's rather somehow it's having a growth, okay. And also we can see that total air cargo's capacity grows, yeah, in between 17 to 31st May on the 2031 is basically is the same like in the weeks of the 2019. Okay, so in here we can see that even though it's down in May 2019, but yeah, there is still in the local context, we can see that there is an increasing. I gave an examples of the Raya Airways. Recently, they bought a new Boeing 767 in order to upgrade their facilities. Yeah, so meaning that in here the expansion actually is there for the air cargo. The logistic demands for transporting the vaccination related, okay, even to the supplying the goods. Import and export from Malaysia. Okay, so here we can say that even though there is tremendously decreasing in the passenger aircraft, but there is upgrading in the activities of the air freighter or the cargo operators in Malaysia. But then when we talk about the current situation, what we're going to do about the future? Are we going to stay stagnant and just watch what other countries and outside peoples is doing? And I do believe the answer is no, especially towards you, the younger generations need to understand that you are the future generations, yeah? So meaning that in here, when we talk about this, the dramatic shift in the organizationals, okay, the skills the students need to have, the future human capital need to have, okay, the capabilities and also the way of working, okay. So meaning that in here, the risings of the advanced analytic and the increase of the digitalizations, okay, when we talk about the core of element functions have a significant effect on the lines in managing the talent in the future, not just to the engineering, but towards the whole ecosystem of the aviation industries. Okay, the technology of the future is rather somehow is already here because of the COVID-19. Okay, we can see that in here there's a lot of different stages of the technology, but we can see that, for example, the big data and analytics is already here and we need to implement it. Okay, and the artificial intelligence, okay, the detailing on the borderless, ticketless boarding and such. Okay, the virtual reality, the maintenance, robotic and such. Okay, so meaning that in here, we need to equip ourselves towards the technology of the future. Okay, if in the 2018 might be we are focusing you on the different technology, IR 4.0, just an introduction. Okay, but you need to cope, you need to be ready for the technology of the future because it's already here. Okay, so when we are talking about the profitable business models, okay, we need to understand that the eclipse of the new models based on improvement in robotics, electrification, the biotech, supersonic tech, and everything, yeah. But the application towards logistic area in aviation is crucial. Okay, so new frontier, you need to equip yourself with the new frontier. Okay, need to ready with the we are chasing the technology, but again, the sustainable for the future need to be in parallel so that there will still future generation to be equipped, ready for all of this. Okay, and the platform, okay, the digital infrastructure, the network effect, okay, all need to be in place. Okay, the platforms of the robotics, okay, AI, right, and also the service robotic, healthy robotic, okay, it will be crucial. So we need to be ready towards that. Okay, but again, now we are talking on the sections of involving the students. Okay, you are our future generation, you are our asset. So meaning that in here, this is not just applicable to the aviation institutions, okay, but also applicable to you as the logisticians students. Okay, you need to set in your mind that we are changers. Okay, so we need to chase the changes. Okay, anything or something to improve. Okay, I do believe that in your elements of your studies, there's a lots of various component that need to be looked at. Okay, so all of these will be not the same as what we had before, and we need to review back all the trainings. We need to improve, and the student need to be in the critical thinking in order to adapt and adopt with those new technology. Okay, when it's coming to the end, all right, when we talk about the aviations and logistics, okay, as the transporting the passenger from destination A to B, or transportation goods from A to B, okay. So meaning that in here, whatever it is today, tomorrow and beyond, we need to understand that three elements: the mutual cooperation during the pandemics, okay, the operators, the logistic operators, the airline operators, okay, even the passenger, the customer themselves need to be in the same ecosystem, need to be in the mutual cooperation, so that we are fighting and we are achieving for the goal in fighting the pandemic. Okay, if one break out, meaning that we cannot complete the whole circle. All right, the second thing, as a conclusion, we need to know that the quick technology adoption, okay, whenever that pass, okay, we need to review, and then we need to adapt with the quick technology change. All right, and again, whenever that we are talking about the aviations, the most important thing is the recovery begin with the customer. If the customer, if the passenger is not feel safe to fly, there will be no demand, okay, for the aviation to come back again. Okay, so to end the presentations, I leave you to think about, okay, Napoleon Bonaparte mentioned that the amateur discuss tactics, the professionals discuss logistics. So you are the professionals, okay, so you are the future and generations of the logistic industries. With that, thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Hazariah. Very good knowledge sharing and from your end. And I like the one you put about all the pictures of Napoleon there. Yes, they all of these the students, they will be the logisticians, so they will be professional. Okay, thank you very much. So now we would like to go for the session for question and answers. So at this session, I would like to ask if there are any questions from the participants. Either they can, perhaps we could take like 5 questions, and then after that, what we could do is that they could raise their hands, and then I will call the names, and then they can ask the questions to the panels. Okay, there is one now I see from Mohammad Abidin Bakar. Cik Abidin is for our lecturers in UTAR. So he has a question. Okay, Cik Abidin.
Good afternoon, Dato, and all the participant presenters. So my question is directed to Mr. Radzuan from Ministry of Transport. So just to clear my curiosity, 2 or 3 years back, there was an idea to build an airport or cargo airport in Kulim. Is it political driven, or is it I just to find out whether is it in the grand plan of Malaysian airport, Berhad? Mr. Rizwan, you get it my question?
Loud and clear, J. Abidin.
Yeah.
Do you expect me to respond now or future, Mr. Moderator?
Wherever convenient to you.
Wherever convenient.
I'm waiting until the session, finish.
Okay, I think since this is the first question, perhaps I can just go straight answering the question. Number one, the plan to build Kulim Airport was essentially way back in 2016, where the government have carried out a study whether or not for the government to build Kulim Airport. And essentially, the study mentioned that Kulim Airport is something which could complement essentially Penang Airport. So that is the outcome of the study. And at the later stage, the state government of Kedah, they have submitted their application to build Kulim Airport. And the only thing is they have presented to the government, and the government have instructed the state government of Kedah to undertake further studies on to ensure that Kulim Airport is a viable project, which currently they are undertaking the study. So to answer your question, whether or not it is politically driven, I would not be able to answer that, but perhaps that the fact that the government are undertaking study on that shows when there is a merit, definitely the construction of Kulim Airport is something which can be considered by the government. Thank you very much, Cik Abidin.
Thank you for your answers.
Thank you, Mr. Cik Abidin and Mr. Radzuan. As Mr. Cik Abidin asked about Kulim, I teringat, I'm something crossed my mind. You know, Mr. Radzuan, in Thailand, they already opened Betong International Airport just at the part. It's just not far from Perak only. So I do think that's also will be part affected the aviation logistics on the northern region. What do you think about that, Encik Radzuan?
Thank you. I know Betong Airport is airport which is supposed to be operationalized this year, and the airport would be able to carry the biggest aircraft is only A320 or 737 aircraft, and I was informed that the purpose of having the airport is essentially because they are people in the southern Thailand are essentially using either Kota Baru Airport or even I don't think not so much on Alostar Airport, but rather than Kota Baru Airport, and most of them are taking flights to do Hajj or even Umrah using Kala-A, and they would want to curb this leakage. Hence, they developed that airport. That airport actually nearer to the Alostar Airport rather than Kulim. So again, as I mentioned much earlier, that the government is undertaking national airport strategic plan because those plans are essentially made based on the assumption prior COVID-19 growth. And by having this COVID-19 pandemic, essentially all the airports today are operating below their capability, below their capacity. When we are talking about how do we fill up the existing capacity, and not thinking of whether or not we should expand the capacity or even to build a new airport. But we hope that this study could enlighten us what would be the future trends of the aviation growth and aviation industry, so as to ensure that we prepare ourselves on the future demands of the aviation sector. Thank you, Dr. Azam.
Okay, thank you very much, Encik Radzuan. So now let's open up for second question. Is there any second question from the guests? Oh, I have. This is from one person, Jerome Chai Chunam. Jerome,
yes,
have a question?
I have a question here. For the panelists here, is there any certificate or special qualification needed in order to enter the aviation industry?
Oh.
I think looks like the questions is directed to me, I guess.
Okay, Dr. Hazariah. All yours.
Certificate. You mean dedicated certificate in order to aviation industry? No, actually, when we talk about the aviation industries, we divided it into the most important thing is when we are talking about in the logistic point of view. Yeah, remember that when you are entering your degree in UTAR, yeah, your courses is accredited by the CILT. So you are having a wonderful collaboration with the CILT that. By having this, actually, your courses, every syllabus that you had in your courses will be evaluated by the CILT. Therefore, when CILT respectively talking with the other industries, they are talking about the same language. Okay, so if you wanted to enter the aviation industry, we at Unikl MIAT is also part of the CILT approval accredited program. Okay, so meaning that there's no even though you are entering in different levels of the aviation industries, okay, the CILT certificate will be superb, will be highly accredited in order to join. But nevertheless, if you don't have it, okay, you can work in order to get it, and in the same times work close with the aviation's requirements, because it might change from this moment of I'm speaking, might be towards in the future when you wanted to embark. I hope that I answer your question.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Okay.
Just to add, Dr. Azam, Jerome,
yeah. Yes,
you can also take my place in the future. Not to worry so much.
Okay.
Because I must say that you have an advantage of having your logistic background for you to not only aviation. Essentially, you're talking about logistic expert. And I would welcome more students from UTAR to join the government or even to join any of the aviation industry. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you very much, Mr. Radzuan. So I hope that the student now, they know their direction is very, very huge, very big, not just in the commercial environment, but also in the government as well. Okay, now I have a hand raised from this Siu Zeng Heng. So Siu Zeng Heng, can you share your question with us?
Yeah, hi. Good afternoon, guests and the panels. I have one question directed to the air freight charges, because that in the current pandemic period, e-commerce is getting more and more normal to everyone to shop from overseas. So what I can spot the obvious difference between the freight charges from the east and the freight charges coming from the west. The price gap is very significant, and also why does the lead time is also, there's also a huge gap between these two geographical location between these two places. Why is there this kind of huge variance in between?
Okay, I think Miss Phuah, this is just for you, Miss Phuah.
Yeah. Okay. It you means is the transit time and also the freight charges. Am I right?
Yep.
Okay. Transit time is because of depends on the carrier they fly, because there is no direct flight from a place to an origin to a destination. They definitely have to go back to their own hub, the first thing. The second thing is, as Mr. Radzuan said, there is a landing right. So they have certain places that they can land or they have to fly through. So that's why there is a time difference, because you have to see the flight, when they fly, where they stop. They have to go back and they have a transit point. So how many transit points they can go through, they need to go through. So there is a flight transit time differently. So you have to see from which country to which country. Then from there, you need to see where they need to stop. And also there is the weather as well they need to consider. Because of weather, the aircraft, where they can flight, in order to reduce their fuel prices and also the time. So this is the the aircraft, the transit time is totally different. Like you see, Penang to KL, we have a trucking. Trucking is almost 4 to 6 hours. That is no different. But Penang to Singapore, we need 1 day. So that is the point. They need to stop. That means they have a certain requirement on the own individual airlines, how they fly. The rate why is depends on the capacity and the demands, and also what type of aircraft they are using. They are using freighter or passenger flight, which means they are carry passenger with the cargo, or only for the cargo. Because we have two types. We have a lot of cargo aircraft type, but there is two type of things. One is passenger. Passenger, definitely they will consider on passenger and the luggage first. Then only the balance space will go for cargo. The second thing is only freighter. Freighter, which means they only carry cargo. So we have lower deck and main deck. So the aircraft only carry cargo. So it depends on how many items that they want to carry, how many things that they need to carry, how many weights they can carry. And from the airline, if, like say, Penang to Pudong, okay, airlines, we have cargo, we have full aircraft flying from Penang to Pudong. But when they want to come back, return, there is no cargo. So which means the airline need to calculate the rates as well from go there and return. So they need to justify the freight charges. So there is a difference between the freight, why is different rates, the various is different, and the time is different. Hopefully, I answer your question.
I think Ms. Phuah, I think it is the same with trucking as well. Truck can go with cargoes and then coming back with empty. So that is something being applied in air aviation as well.
Yeah, that's why you need to look for a trucker which they have go and through, so that the pricing will be different. If they only, like you only chartered a truck from Penang to KL, but there is no return cargo, then the charges will be higher compared to a truck that they have returns.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much, Ms. Phuah.
You're most welcome.
Thank you.
Hopefully, I answer your student question.
Yes, of course. Thank you very much.
Okay,
yeah, most welcome.
I have another two hands. One is Miss. Cik Vidin. I have one more student. I think let's give the student first, Cik Vidin.
Okay. If time permit, otherwise it's okay. You can.
I go Leong Z Wen first. After that, I'll give to Mr. Vidin. So Leong Z Wen, your question.
Hi. Good afternoon, respected speakers. My question is in terms of sustainability because we understand that aviation is fossil fuel dependent Is there a future for this industry, and how long will it going to last?
I think we have to go round table this one.
Can I just give a quick answer for that?
Yeah, can.
All right. For your information, I did my PhD in that topic. My PhD topic was the biojet fuels
I see.
To be used for the aircraft. Yeah.
Oh. Oh, okay, okay. This
Yes.
I'm very curious about this.
Exactly. All right.
Is there any
Let me
future?
a quick answer. Okay, when we talk about the fossil fuels, okay, sooner or later the fossil fuel will be depletion, yeah, will be finished sooner or later. Okay, but in order to counter that, the aviation industries already look for the alternative energy, and also we call it as the renewable energy. Okay. You can see that development of the aircraft, okay, you can see that when we alter the technology, when we enhance, not alter, when we enhance the technology, the engines, super good, the material for the aircraft, super good, super lighter, okay, that enhance to the reductions of the fuel efficiency. So meaning that rather somehow it still not get the zero emission because we're still using the fossil fuel. So what they're doing is they have a special group in Qatar about this type of problems, whereby they come up with the alternative energy, meaning that they're using the energy from the for example, yeah, the research was conducted using the microalgae. Okay, the most optimistic biojet fuels using the algae, camelina, all right, not the oil palm. It's not sustainable in terms of the life cycles, the whole concept. So meaning that to answer your question, yes, I think whether it is aviations, I think aviation is crucial because the engine needs properties of the fuel to be more specific, dedicated to the engine. Compared with the local, we can see the diesel, the biodiesel is available at Petron or even the Petronas sometimes, right? So meaning that in this case, when we talk about that, it is there, but not yet in the larger scales. Because for aviation to use it, okay, it needs a very, very crucial value of the properties of the alternative energy, biomass, what we call it, to be used in the aviation industries. But again, sustainable energy, not just in terms of that. Aircraft is also having the solar panels using for their aircraft, but the limitation will be the distance will be short, not as what we have for the Airbus and the 74 right now. Okay, thank you.
So you mean that it's possible there is a future for it
It is, yes.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you.
All right.
Okay, just to add on Leon Zihan question, I have a question for Dr. Hazariah as well. Do we see the aircraft going to be using electric after this?
Yes.
Electric aircraft.
Indeed, there's an electric aircraft already available, but not to commercial. Yeah, it is a very small, like Cessna, for example. They have the I can't remember the exact name of the models, but yes, it is. But the limitation will be on the battery. We need a very good battery to be used at that particular aircraft when we talk about the electrifications.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Hazariah. So I think we covered the ideas, the questions about sustainability. Okay, we have from Mr. Abidin. He has another question. So Mr. Abidin.
Okay, my question will be directed to Ms. Phuah. Okay, interestingly to note that your company is dealing with some tuna, exporting tuna from Malaysia. So my question that where you got the supply from? Is it from deep sea fishing? Because I remember 5 years ago when Hazana invested quite heavily in tuna breeding in Langkawi. I was from Langkawi anyway. So it was after 5 years it was went off. So it was closed down. Because I know that CEO is my friend. So it was paid handsomely. But at the end of the day, the yield is not forthcoming. But betul that they went to the Andaman Sea. They bring the small tuna and they give feeding. But actually that tuna require call it sardine kind of fish. You see? So they give it a pellets, it doesn't grow. The size not it's not reached to the standard. I think they're exporting to Taiwan or something like that. So can you comment on that? Where you get from our tuna supply? And remember that you have a loading jetty in Batu Maung so for tuna industry. Is that right? Okay, that's my question.
Okay. In fact, when we handle the tuna, Actually, the vessel is Taiwan vessel. They are catching in Indian Ocean. So which means they will go out for months, and then they will return. So all the tuna was from Indian Ocean Sea, and is under a Taiwanese vessel. So when the time that we handle is not in Batu Mau, is in Penang Port. You see the old Penang Port? There is an old warehouse stretched in the jetty in Penang Island, not the Batu Besar, is the Penang Island. There is one whole stretch of the old warehouse. That is the place for them, for the vessel to loading the fish, everything there. So the packing, everything is there. So actually the time is not breathing by Malaysia or anyone here in Penang, is by the Taiwanese boat who coming back from Indian Ocean. So that's why after that, I think one thing is, as I understand, is because Malaysia that time we have a red, yellow cards, so we cannot handle the tuna fish. And second thing is because from Indian Ocean, the transit time, they're coming to Penang and to Phuket. Phuket is shorter, the timing, so the fresh, the grade of the tuna fish is higher compared to when they come into Penang. And then the second thing is because of the handling charges in Phuket is more cheaper compared to Penang. So that's why all the tuna fish that time divert to Phuket and also Sri Lanka. And that time the tuna fish is very, very big, huge. One tuna fish is about 130 over kilo. The smaller one is 110 kilo that time. Last few years back, I think 2 years back, 3 years back, we have a Malaysians buyer. They have some shipments, but the tuna is it's not a chilled tuna, but it's a frozen tuna. The tuna is about 80 kilos. It's very small compared to the previous that we handled before. This is the comparison. Maybe all the Taiwanese boat catches all the big tuna, so less only the small tuna. I never heard that we heard that there is a breeding, but I don't. That time is not. That time they are catching from Indian Ocean. And yes, the Batu Mau one is handled by one of the Taiwanese buyer that time. They have their own boat, so they bring into the Batu Mau. But now all the tuna is diverted to Phuket and Sri Lanka. No more in Penang. Only one of the buyer in Malaysia brought in frozen tuna, not chilled tuna. There is a difference. Hopefully I answer your question.
Okay, definitely. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, now let's go for the last question. I think there's one student raised their hands. There is one student raised their hand. Is it let me see, Mohammad Atifuddin. Mohammad Atifuddin, would you like to ask the questions to the panel? So please proceed.
Yes. Okay, good day, everyone. I'll be quick. I have only one question, whichever panel can answer this. Okay, so will this industry, aviation industry, bloom back, especially before the pandemic ends? Maybe this year, is there any hope for the aviation industry, or we just hopefully waiting for the pandemic to end, or maybe the whole world have been vaccinated? Yeah, that's all. Thank you.
I think better we ask everyone in this the panels what they think about it. So let's start by Cik Radzuan. What do you think, Cik Radzuan? Will it coming back to normal?
Thank you very much. IATA have forecasted for the airlines industry to revive within 2 to 3 years. The problem that we have today is, when is the reviving start? That is the key question which we are not able to answer now, because our border is still closed. But if we are to reliable forecast would be within 2 to 3 years. If assuming that phase 4 of MCO would end by November, December, we are talking about 2022 24, 25, 24. That is a time where, in fact, I had the opportunity to discuss this with some of IATA experts. They did mention to me that even we revive our aviation industry within 2 or 3 years, but our achievement, our growth will not be equal like what we have achieved in 2019. There is a growth, but it will not be as good as 2019. So I think that's all that I can answer. Thank you very much, moderator.
Thank you very much, Radzuan. Ms. Phuah, in your opinion, what do you think?
My opinion for cargo side is still there is a growth, because since day one, the MCO last year, 2020, the cargo industry never stopped. In fact, we have some similar meeting with overseas partners. In fact, last year, they have a big growth in cargo. So for me, cargo is still there because cargo we still can move in and out. But passenger side, I think as what Encik Rizwan said, yes, there be a question. We do not know. Maybe 2 to 3 years, we do not know because no one can predict. But for cargo side, definitely there will be a growth. Because everyone need, especially now, vaccine, mask, glove, all these is a must in this time. So there is a lot of import and export on this item by air cargo.
Thank you, Ms. Phuah.
This is point of my view. Yeah.
That's good. That is good. We now we are positive about the cargo movement and the growth for the aviation industry. So at least the student now they know they can still work in the aviation industry.
I can say is in logistics there is a very big growth to go, because from first day until now, I think from my our great grandfather, logistics is there. Every part of the world we need logistics. We never out from logistics. So logistics is a good part. And I never regret to join as a logistic people. This is from my point of view.
Thank you very much. Now let's hear from the expert, Dr. Hazariah. You are the expert now. What do you think?
Not very much the expert compared with Mr. Radzuan. Okay, back to your question, Dr. Azam. What we are trying to say in here is, yes, as Ms. Phuah was mentioning, there is no guarantee when exactly. And as Mr. Razvan was mentioning, yes, the border is still closed and there is no much more movement. But again, we need to understand that the demand of the traveling, the demand of the logistic, definitely air freighter, cargo. All right, the demand, it will be long and slow in the process to recover. But again, I was mentioning just now in my presentation was that the recovery begins with the mutual cooperations among all those operators and such. All right, and also with the detailing on what I would like to highlight in here, with the altitudes, the right altitude, like actually I'm so like goosebump, to see like the students, over 170 participants today with us in order to hear what we are going to say. It's something that lead to this transition in order to make it happen, so that the aviation can be blooming back. The right integrations, yeah, but we can say that. Okay, so meaning that in here, Dr. Azam, I will trying to say that by hook by crook, the aviation will blooming again. One, the border is open. One, everybody is feel safe to travel. All right, thank you.
Thank you very much. So I would like to conclude from our presentation today from Ms. Phuah, Dr. Hazariah, and Encik Radzuan from MOT. I would like to conclude that COVID-19 pandemic has impacted all of us, and the aviation industry, we see the haywires and the the negative impact of it. But this is a good thing as well, because we learn from the COVID-19. We learn how to survive. We learn how to improve the aviation industry. And then and I do believe from the discussion from all three of you, I believe that the aviation industry, the aircraft, the airlines, and all the ground operation, the airports, and everything, we will grow again. We will grow again as once the border is open. So with that, I would like to say that's the end of my task as the moderator. So I will give back this event to the Master of Ceremony for them to officiate, to give the to the next session. Okay, the Master Ceremonies, I'll give back the event to you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Azam. Okay, and now our talk has come to its end. Thank you so much to our speakers and moderators for the talk session. Surely we all gain some insights, and by gauging through the Q&A session, the session has been fruitful to all of us. As a gesture of further gratitude to CILT Malaysia, we would like to invite the Honourable Dato Muhammad Muhiyuddin Abdullah, Chairman of CILT Malaysia, Perak Section, to deliver his closing remarks on behalf of CILT. Please welcome Dato.
Dato, you are muted. Dato, you are muted. Kena on microphone.
Okay.
Okay, we can hear you.
All right. Master Ceremony, yang berbahagia Dato Razak, the President of the CILT International, the honourable panelists, the moderator Dr. Azam, then the UTAR Logistics and International Shipping Society, and the Faculty of Science. First and foremost, the chairman of the Perak CILT section, I would like to thank first to the panelists who has given a very good input today to the students, and it comes from the various backgrounds, from the Ministry of Transport, from the academician, the University of Kuala Lumpur, and from the industry. So I think they have given the oversight of the subjects of aviation, and that also give the overview of the current situation of the aviation industry. I think before the pandemic, I think the report in 2017, according to the International Civil Aviation Organization, airlines worldwide has carried 4.1 billion of passengers. It has transported 56 million tons of freight on 37 million commercial flights. The organization expected that aviation shall provide 65 million jobs globally. These jobs are either related to flying aircraft and also ground operational activities. And then the International Civil Aviation Organization also believe that aviation industry globally generated economic growth, creating jobs and facilitate international trade. The aviation industry is an enabler of global business, but unfortunately, after the COVID, due to the pandemic COVID-19, the things went the other way around. I think a lot of employees have been, unemployed. Then a lot of companies went bankrupt, and only the like what Ms. Ching mentioned, I think only the cargo need survive. But anyway, I think as for the student, I mean the participant, I think that one we shouldn't, I mean, discourage us from moving forward. I think like what Ms. Madam Ching was saying, during this current period, I think the logistic industries are, I think still moving. I think now during the pandemic, especially I think like the supply chain, the delivery system. If last time, we can see a lot of this youth, they are employed, they call mat rempit, but now they are employed, and they go on this Grab and then Panda and all kinds of me. And then as for the I would like to really congratulate the UTAR Logistics and International Shipping Society for taking the initiative to organize this webinar. I think, and also the Faculty of Science. This one happened to be the third webinar that was co-organized by CILT Perak and UTAR. And the first one is on industry, where we invited the president of the Federal Manufacturers of FMM of Perak, and then the state industry exco of Perak, and then the president of CILT Malaysia to be the panelist. And then the second one was on the supply chain, where we invited, I think that is a good thing for UTAR to invite their alumni. The alumni of UTAR that has been studying in UTAR and then been working in Singapore, Penang, and all over to come back to contribute their experience, to tell the students their experiences after graduating and they when they work. And then this webinar. So I think as far as CILT Malaysia last time, when before I came into the organization, before I came in as a council member, so it has all the way been very strong in academic. So there are about 30 universities that we are accrediting their courses, and then when I came in, I'm from the chamber. I'm the president of the Perak Malay Chamber of Commerce, and then I was appointed into the council members as the president, as the chairman of the CILT Perak Section. Then they appointed me as the industry linkages committee chairman. I think it is very important for UTAR, the students, to have more interaction with the industry, because after graduating, definitely you need a place to do your industrial training and at the same time to work. So before you go, I mean, it's good that you have this kind of event. Now you are exposed. I think you talk to to those very experienced people, like doctor. I think they taught a lot of things that that to educate the students on the industry, and Madam Ching on the on the industry itself, and then Mr. Radzuan on the on the ministry side. So I think it covers all the aspect of the industry. So I wish all the best to the student, because this one, I think today was over. I think 20. I understand that 200 registered now. Today 170 was allowed in. The previous one, there was about 180 participants that registered, but unfortunately we can accommodate only 100 participants. And I also take this opportunity to also thank the lecturer in Utah. I've got about five of them in my Perak Section community. So I think they are the prime mover, the CILT on education. And what I'll do is to link up the university with the industry. So I hope the industry will have linkages with the International Chamber of Perak. I think they are very, very, they have got a lot of businesses that they did or they do with the internationals. And then the Chinese Chamber of Commerce, I think the Chinese Chamber of Commerce, so they have got a lot of things. They've got even they've got the shoe association, shoe making association, which people thought that it's small. They are doing cottage industry, Bukit Merah, Melenggu, but their product are exported all through Europe, UK, and everywhere, US. And then the other one that we have got also the Indian Chamber, then the FMF, the Federal Manufacturers Association of Perak is very big. They are very big businessmen. So I hope the university can have linkages with them, so that later you will have the opportunity for your students to do industrial training and also to work in learning. So once again, thank you to the head of the Faculty of Science, being very supportive, and I wish all the best to the students. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dato, for closing our event today. As the saying goes, to every beginning there is an ending. Today wouldn't be possible without the effort and support of our organizing committee. Therefore, please welcome them to join our guests and speakers for photo taking session. Once again, I would like to confirm if Dato Abd Razak is still around.
Linda, no, he's not around. He has to leave.
Okay, thank you, Doctor. Once again, Dato Muhiyuddin, Dr. Lim, respected speakers and moderator, kindly turn on your camera for this session. Let's have our technical department to facilitate us again. And dear audiences, you are invited as well to join us. Please turn on your camera too.
Ini session ambil gambar beramai-ramai.
But we are still live, kan?
Yeah, we still live.
Okay.
Ya, Doktor.
Is it include the participant? No. The guest?
Yes,
no.
yes. All participants and audiences are welcome also.
Okay.
Agola, very active.
Betul, Dato. They are amazing. Yeah.
Actually, Dr. Kurt, this is the way we have to bring industry to the classroom. Or not, it will be
is there anyone from technical department?
Yes, here. Okay. 3, 2, 1. And 3, 2, 1. Thank you very much.
Dr. Azam, this is a new generation for new logistician.
Yes.
We are already.
No, we are still young.
We are still young.
I'm old. So that's why we need to
Orang
look
lama.
for new blood to come into the industry, because this industry is really a challenging industry.
Oh yes.
It's very good. I don't know, but I love it. It's a challenging industry and it's very big. It's very huge. Logistics is covered a lot. So hopefully this is a new blood for the industry.
Do things that you love.
Yes,
Don't
that
do
is
the things that
fantastic.
you.
Thank you. Stay safe. Thank you very much for inviting us. Thank you.
All the best.
Thank you very much.
Everyone.
Thank you very much. Once again, thank you everyone for gracing our event with your presence.
Yes.
And thank you for staying with us throughout the session. And we would like to apologize for the inconvenience caused. Dear UTAR students, kindly fill up your sign out and evaluation forms via the link provided. The links will be closed at 5:15 p.m. All audiences are encouraged as well to leave your feedback through the evaluation form. Lastly, today's recording will be available in Logistics and International Shipping Society Facebook page as well as the CILT Malaysia YouTube channel. You may visit these platforms to watch it later. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that wraps up our evening. On behalf of LISS and CILTM, thank you all for making time in your busy schedules to join us here this evening. It's been our pleasure to host this event and I wish you all a pleasant evening. Thank you and take care.
Thank you.
Thank you everyone.
Thank you.
Macam pramugari bagi announcement lah.
Huh? In fact, I learned a lot of things also from Encik Rizwan and Doctor. It's a good. Thank you very much. I learned.
Same.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All the best to all. Congratulations to the student. Have a nice weekend all. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Stay safe.
Bye. Stay safe.
Terima kasih, Tok.
Okay, bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay, Dr. Azam.
Thank you. Can we stop recording? Can we stop recording? Thank you. I think we can.